Hey everybody, it's GobletX and welcome back to some more Magic Arena, and today we're going to be playing another Arena Cube draft. So without further ado, let's just get into it. Some very powerful stuff in Pack 1, Pick 1 as always. Phyrexian Dragon Engine's a lot of fun. Super good in any red deck because you get a 2-2 double strike that can unearth later, and it's very fun if you can pick up a Mishra as well. Try to weld them together. There's also Liliana of the Veil in here, a very nice planeswalker. If your opponent only has one creature on board, you're living the dream with that -2 ability. Other than that, you can just keep using the +1 for a while to get to the -2 again. Mind Flayer is really good if your opponent can't kill it, but there's a lot of removal spells in the cube, obviously, so if you play this and it just gets blown up, it kind of doesn't do anything. Other than that, Hard Evidence, decent card draw, nice 1-mana little play for the blue decks. Go for the Throat is nice cheap removal. Good cheap interaction. A lot of good stuff here. I think I'm just going to go for Liliana here. Enjoy Liliana quite a bit. Powerful Planeswalker. Love the -2 effect in particular.
You're telling me what
So we'll go with that to start the draft off. And we could go for kind of a Planeswalker tribal deck. Just move right into Vraska, Golgari, Queen. Just run all Planeswalkers all day. Super Friends time. Vraska does another one of the things that you want your Planeswalkers to do in the format. You want them to just hit the board, remove a threat, and then stick around so your opponent has to deal with them with something. Just running Planeswalkers as your removal spells is generally quite powerful, so Liliana into Vraska seems like a pretty good place to start. Plenty of other strong cards, Restoration Angel, Murderous Rider, Expressive Iteration, Ox, but I'm going to go Vraska here. Do a Super Friends or Super Villains kind of deck. Pack 1, Pick 3. It is early enough to try to play a Lurrus deck, but if we want Lurrus to be the companion, we have to immediately cut Liliana and Vraska. I feel like it's relatively difficult to draft with Lurrus as your companion, because anybody trying to play an aggro deck's already going to take 1 and 2 mana creatures incredibly highly, so it's hard to get enough of them to really make a full deck of just 1 and 2 mana permanents. Luckily, your non-permanents can be whatever mana cost you want. But I don't know, that might be fun to try. I haven't really tried to do Lurrus as a companion here. You know what? If I throw the cube draft, whatever. So I don't want to see 1,000 comments about how, oh, this is a stupid idea. This is the dumbest thing I've seen you do. Because this is not an arena open or a competitive event here. We're playing the arena cube for fun. Let's see if we can get enough 2-in-1 drops to play Lurrus as the companion slot. Just go all in on it. That being said, that's a Scarab God. It's Liliana of the Veil and Vraska. It's Acquisition Expert to go for the Lurrus Dream, or it's Scarab God to immediately give up on that. You know, nothing's going to stop me. I'm going for the Lurrus Dream. Lurrus Companion deck, let's go. Well, I said nothing's going to stop me, but if I get past 0 2-mana or less cards, then even if I force it, it's just impossible to do, so kind of awkward. 3-mana permanent, 5-mana permanent. I'll just take a Fabled Passage. It's going to be mana fixing for whatever deck I end up in. There's one more 2-mana card. Nothing in this pack is super good or super speaks to me. There's like Great Shark, which is fine. Just take the Lion Sash. Alright, some powerful high mana value non-permanent spells. Soul Transfer is good removal. Invoke Despair if we're really heavy into black. Probably going to be more like black-white. It's going to be really hard to make a deck that's like monocolored, very focused on black with a million 1 and 2 drops. A lot easier to do when you have 2 colors to choose from, so I'll take Soul Transfer here. Languish. Nice removal. Nice board wipe effect. And Languish is a really good pick for us because that's going to be really good in our black-based Planeswalker deck if the Lurrus Dream doesn't work out. Cult Conscript, super easy pick. Great for the Lurrus deck. Not great for the Planeswalker deck. Shambling Ghast, great for the Lurrus deck. Maybe we're getting there. Maybe we just didn't open up a lot of 1 and 2 drop cards. But now we've got 8 cards in the deck. Every single thing in here is playable in a Lurrus deck, with Lurrus as the companion. You can put an Eater of Virtue in there, I guess. This one's not a good combo with Lurrus, though, because it will exile our creatures that die under the Eater of Virtue. So it's not ideal. Take a Fading Hope if we end up in blue. Maybe we end up in Esper. Blue, black, white. This actually is turning out way better than it looked like. When I took Lurrus, after the next 2 picks, things were looking horrible, but now the Lurrus build looks decent, and the backup plan of Planeswalker build is still strong. The Languish was a huge pickup for that backup plan. Now we got a black-white dual land, which is beautiful. And yeah, Acquisitions Expert is the perfect kind of like controlling play for that Planeswalker build. Shambling Ghast is a good early drop for that deck. Keep your opponent off of you. We've got a good removal spell with Soul Transfer. Drowned Catacomb. We actually have really good lands for Esper now. We've got a blue-white-black Triome, a Drowned Catacomb, and a Fabled Passage. Maybe Fading Hope is actually going to be in here. And 3 colors gives us even more options when it comes to 1 and 2 mana spells. Alright, pack 2, pick 1. We have a couple very powerful permanents that cost more than 2 mana. Shark Typhoon and the Cruelty of Gix. We have a big powerful sorcery of Gix's command. We have a Thoughtseize, and we have a Clarion Spirit. These are the 3 cards that are competing pretty heavily. Apologies that the card is cut off on the left hand of the screen. Arena is bugged out right now in the draft preview where it doesn't lock the card to the screen. It lets it get cut off at the left. But yeah, Clarion Spirit, 2 mana, 2/2. Whenever you cast your second spell each turn, create a 1/1 with flying. I think this is just going to be incredibly good in the Lurrus deck because we're already forced to take a ton of 1 and 2 mana creatures. We're going to have enough spells that we'll be casting 2 in 1 turn pretty often to get those bonus spirits. We're going to be pretty aggressive, so I think Clarion Spirit is just really, really good for this deck. Gix's command would also be pretty awesome in the deck, but Clarion Spirit's just kind of perfect. So we're going to take that. We'll see what we wheel. Thoughtseize, Patriarch's Humiliation, Gix's command being the great pickups. Deadly Dispute still being fine. But very happy with the Clarion Spirit. Pack 2, pick 2 now. Another great 2 mana aggressive permanent. Take the Blade of the Oni here. 2 mana, 3/1 menace. Could even take Altar of Ball technically, and that gives us a 3 mana creature. A 3 mana 4/1 menace that we can actually run in the deck even with Lurrus as the companion. That's kind of interesting, but I think this is a lot more likely to wheel. Not a lot of decks want an Altar of Ball. Also a black-white duel, which would be good. But I think we need to take permanents really, really heavily because we don't have many options of them. I'm going to take the Blade over the 5 mana, 3 mana, and other 3 mana permanents. There's a very powerful 9 mana permanent. I got absolutely devastated by a Portal to Phyrexia in a draft I did earlier today. Absolutely destructive. But it's also 9 mana. We've got an Unbreakable Formation if we get enough creatures. This can be a pretty powerful spell. We're sitting at 7 right now. Probably not going to end up with an incredibly high creature count. Might take the Shipwreck Marsh, so we've got really, really good mana if we're splashing in some blue. Yeah, I mean, Unbreakable Formation doesn't seem phenomenal. And Mutavault's not a card I really want to play in a 2 or 3 color deck. Because the colorless... The fact that it only produces colorless can be a big downside when you have double black cards and double white cards. And all of that. A little bit of a speculative pick there. For more blue fixing. We just have all the blue fixing in the world with a Watery Grave now. All of the other cards in the pack are permanents that are too expensive. Forsaken Crossroads might actually be better here because it can be white or black mana. Those are the colors we need the most. I'll actually take Crossroads here. Ooh, Luminarch Aspirant. Well, this is rough. Portable Hole, Ashnod, or Luminarch Aspirant. Again, I can play removal that costs 3 and 4 mana. That's fine. Lurrus is okay with that. So Portable Hole's a tiny bit more replaceable for me. because when it comes to creatures and stuff, I'm locked into only the 1 and 2 mana creature spells. So I'm going to take Luminarch Aspirant. Plus, Luminarch Aspirant is one of the strongest creatures in the whole cube. 2 mana for a 1/1, get a +1/+1 counter on the beginning of combat on your turn on any creature. It's just so good. I will take it over Portable Hole, but Portable Hole is also great. It's super cheap interaction. All right, Charming Prince now, 2-drop creature. That's kind of an auto pick here. Easy stuff there. Selfless Savior is very good with Lurrus, because you get to play the Savior and you can sack the Savior to give Lurrus indestructible and then just replay the Savior anyway. That's a beautiful pickup. There's also March of Otherworldly Light for more removal. Could definitely see an argument for that because we don't have a lot of removal, but Selfless Savior is just like the perfect synergy with Lurrus. Ooh, Kayla's Command is awesome here. I'm going to actually take that over Priest of Fell Rites because this is basically another creature. It's like a 3-mana creature. 3 mana for a 2/2, put a +1/+1 counter on a creature, give it double strike, just beat down hardcore. Great 3-drop creature. We'll take the Kayla's Command. Ooh, we wield the Thoughtseize. That's pretty sick. I guess we take that. Patriarch's Humiliation also good, but I'm a big Thoughtseize fan here. And we wield the Bright Climb Pathway. That's also incredible for us. We want the Portal to Phyrexia and the Teleportation Circle. Can't play them though. I'll just take a Portal. So if anybody wanted to be that monstrous, we have stopped them from doing so. Portal to Phyrexia, very similar to the Ugin Planeswalker, the like 8-mana Ugin, where it's just absolutely devastating and pretty much always wins the game. They basically just made it an 8 or 9 mana card that just says, you win the game. But it takes a little while to do it, so it's brutal to play against, because you just know you're going to lose, but it takes a while to do so. Those kind of just gigantic, colorless mega bombs that I think I'd have a more fun time playing against if they just said you win the game. It's just 8 mana sorcery, you win the game. Because Ugin and Portal to Phyrexia, they grind you out of it. You can try really hard to beat them, but then you usually just end up dying in the end anyway. Alright, so we have Evolving Wilds, which actually can get used with Lurrus, right? Oh, you may cast a permanent, not play a permanent, so you can't use Evolving Wilds with Lurrus. But you can use Thalia, Guardian of Thraben. 2 mana for a 2/1 first strike, all non-creatures cost 1 more to cast. Seems fine. We are going to have a little bit of a high non-creature spell count because we can't play any creatures that cost more than 2, but I think Thalia probably still helps us more than our opponent generally. Remorseful Cleric here. Good sacrifice ability, so we can sack it and replay it to Lurrus. We have nothing else to do, which is fun. Probably wield the Isolated Chapel since we wield the Pathway. That's why I'm not that interested in just immediately scooping it up. Transmigrant's Crown's fine, but I think I prefer just Cleric and Chapel as my 2 picks out of this pack. I don't think there's any permanents I can play here. Yeah, 7 mana, 4 mana, 7 mana, 3 mana. Adeline would be so good if we weren't doing Lurrus's Companion here. Take another Underground River. I'll just have 5,000 blue lands and no blue cards. I'm not going to splash blue. I'm just going to keep taking blue lands for fun. So I can just be like, yeah, I could splash blue. Ooh, Hangerback Walker is awesome. Hangerback Walker is awesome for us. This gives us a creature we can cast for 1,000,000 mana. This fills out our 5/6 drop slot on the curve, or I guess our 6 or 8 drop slot on the curve. Because it's technically mana value 0 when you're deck building, but you can dump 1,000,000 mana into it and play it as a gigantic thing later in the game. So that's pretty cool. Roll with that. And that's a really good one to recast from the grave too. Gives you stuff every time it dies. The only card we can play here is Cold Steelheart, but I'm probably not playing that because I don't really need mana ramp in a deck with a curve of 2. Ooh, Evolved Sleeper is another really good one for us because this just gets bigger throughout the game. It's a good card to dump all your mana into, which is something that we need when all our cards are cheap. Very similar card, Concealing Curtains, basically works as a 3 mana creature. You do have to give it that initial investment of 1 mana for the 0/4, but it's basically a 3-mana, 3/4 menace that lets you look at your opponent's hand. So Concealing Curtains is a great one here as well. We could splash in Arona's Vortex, but I'll just be an absolute just no interaction Andy over here. Speaking of no interaction, that's a 6-mana permanent, so I can't play it. Take the Godless Shrine instead. White-black dual land. There were 2 white-black dual lands in that one pack, which is a little sad. We can't have both of them. I can't play any of this. I could splash in an Angel Fire Ignition if I'm monumentally lucky. Another black-white duel. This mana base is going to be beautiful. Nobody wants the dual lands in this draft pod. Yeah, this mana base is just actually phenomenal. Can't play any of this. I can play a Magma Opus, but it's 1,000 mana, so. Alright, we're doing it. This is actually pretty solid looking. We're missing like a few things, mainly we're low on removal. 6. We're actually so low on cards. I'm glad I got that Rona's Vortex, because we're actually so low on cards, I think I actually do have to splash blue. Because I spent so many picks on lands, too. This is a 38 card deck. Alright, we're splashing blue, I guess. Yeah, so we put in the Spectral Sailor as a good mana sink as well. Fading Hope, Shore Up to protect Lurrus. Shore Up to protect Lurrus seems big. And then I probably only need 16 lands maximum, so we just do this and cut 1 land. No, cut Eater of Virtue, that card's really bad in here. Put Brainstorm in and cut a land, because I do have 1 land that searches the library. If I Brainstorm into Fabled Passage, that'll be good, but I guess that's the only card I have that searches my library. Actually, draw 3 and then discard a basic when I have more lands than I want in the deck. It's actually probably good in here. Put that in instead. Oh yeah, and I have to put Lurrus in the companion slot? Oh no. Oh no. We don't have enough cards in here. How many instants and sorceries? 8? It's pretty borderline for a Delver. Last time I played a Delver, I had 16. I mean, it's better than a Cold Steel Heart, and it's better than a 17th land, so... Better than Brainstorm. Without shuffle effects. Look at this curve. Oh my god. I don't know what's going to happen here, but we have a deck. I guess that's how you build this. We have 4, 5, 6 blue cards. 8 white, 9 black. Our mana base is beautiful, so... We're going to have more sources of each color than we would if we were like a 2-color deck with no duels. Right? Because we have 6, 7, 8, 9 potential blue sources. And that's our least represented color. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 potential black sources. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 potential white. Yeah, 10, 10, 8. Seems like good mana to me. I never need double blue though, so I actually kind of want to cut an island for whichever card I need more double of more often. I have 2 double black cards, 1 double white card, but I think I have more white than black. No, I have more black than white. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Yeah, I do have 1 more black card. All right, we'll put another swamp then. And that's the mana base. That's the deck. Okay, one last thing. I totally forgot that I didn't cut a land yet, so actually we just cut the island and don't even add a swamp so that we can be a 16 land deck here. And is Brainstorm better than the 16th land? Honestly, it probably is. Look at this thing. Let's put Brainstorm in over the put Brainstorm in Cut of Plains. And we've got a Brainstorm in here over the 16th land. And now we've got a deck. Alright, here's a look at the deck that we're playing today. I decided to force Lurrus as a companion because we got a Lurrus pick 3 and just see what happens, see if we can make a reasonable looking deck here. If I showed you what this deck looked like with just 1s and 2s, it looks a lot less reasonable there, but when you curve it out like this, and look at this is kind of a 4-drop because it gives us that 4-mana sink for the rest of the game. Hangerback Walker is just the most expensive card in the deck because we can dump a bunch of mana into it. This is basically a 3-drop because that's when you flip it. 3-drop because that's when you're making it a 3/3 and then starting to use that activated ability. And Lion Sash is also a good mana sink. When you put all the mana sinks higher on the curve, then we actually have a more reasonable curve. All these good 1-drops, all these good 2-drops, and then a bunch of mana sink abilities higher on the curve. So that actually looks pretty nice. And for our non-creature spells, they're kind of weird. We don't have a lot of great interaction. We have Soul Transfer and Rona's Vortex for removal. Thoughtseize to interact with our opponent's hand. Then we have a board wipe in a deck this aggressive. But when our curve is so low and we really don't need mana, we're playing the board wipes over a 16th or 17th land. So they're kind of just in here because they're in here. So yeah, I mean, that's the deck. It actually looks pretty reasonable. Bunch of great 1 and 2 mana creatures, lots of mana sink abilities so that we get to do something with our mana, even though we're not doing a lot late game, and we're always going to have a Lurrus available in the companion zone. So who knows if that's a viable thing to do, but we're going to find out today. We're just hard forcing the Lurrus, drafting the Lurrus, so you don't have to. Here we are, game 1. This is a really nice looking hand, and I just realized pretty much all our hands should look like this because of our curve. We just always know we get started off with great early game plays to get things going. I think I'm just going to immediately Thoughtseize my opponent because turn 1 Ghast isn't that crazy here. I mean, what are the odds I'm going to Thoughtseize their 2-drop play? If they have a good mana rock for turn 2 or something, I would, but this is not tremendously likely. Yeah, maybe we just start beating down, play Ghast into Cleric. They can use a removal spell on the Ghast. They're definitely eyeballing it, hovering over it there. Shipwreck Marsh is the draw, so I can get that Spectral Sailor mana on turn 3, which means turn 3 will be Shipwreck Marsh, Sailor, and Thoughtseize. For now, we're playing Cleric, so we'll go Plains Cleric post-combat. Sap Vitality. They're going to go ahead and kill the Cleric. Deal 3 to a creature planeswalker. Choose a creature in your hand. It perpetually gets +3/+0. I believe if this card does not have a target, it will not resolve, so they will not get to give something +3/+0. So we'll go ahead and exile their graveyard. Yep. So it looks like it didn't resolve, so they don't get a +3/+0 buff. Ledger Shredder. Okay, that's going to get exiled here immediately. Actually, wait, no, it's not. That's rough. I've done that before. Curious Obsession at the end of your turn is going to sacrifice itself if you didn't attack, and they didn't attack, so brutal time for the Curious Obsession. Now we don't have to kill the Ledger Shredder, though, but I probably still want to, because we're still going to play like 2 cards per turn quite often. But I can wait now and just Thoughtseize, see what's up over there. Just a Merfolk Trickster. Alright. I accidentally dropped my my Google Pixel buds. I'm just playing, I'm like fumbling around with them. Well, I don't have a fidget cube or anything, I just fidget with pins and earbud cases and stuff. Alright, well, they're playing off the top completely, so that feels like a good position for us. Play our Sailor now. Got a Kayla's Command. I mean, we probably just exile the Shredder and go from there. I don't have to exile the Shredder to win the game. I'm already just winning on board. Maybe I don't. Especially because I'm drawing extra cards off Sailor. Yeah, save Soul Transfer for if something much worse happens. Probably just supposed to put more stuff on the board to speed up the clock. Maybe should have played Kayla's Command instead of drawing a card here. But I'm greedy, I like cards. Ooh, we've got a shore up now. Let's get a 2/2, give one of these things a counter and double strike. Push in for more damage, hold up a shore up. Play another black source so that I could play Soul Transfer and another black spell. Forsaken Crossroads on blue. Icy Manipulator. It's an annoying one, but luckily all our creatures are just a bunch of small different threats, so they just stop 2 damage a turn. Lion Sash. Whenever I exile a permanent with a grave, +1/+1, that's a lot of permanents. Okay, Lion Sash is going to be big. That's a big mana sink. Alright, go to combat. They tap down the Sailor, we hit for 3. We're still winning the race, and we can exile any threat they play with Soul Transfer. But now we play Lion Sash. I only have the white mana to exile one thing with it, though. I'd actually put Lurrus in hand here. I can put Lurrus in hand, play Savior, and hold up Shore Up. That's more mana efficient. Yeah, since I only have 2 white sources, Lion Sash is actually not that crazy. Just go wide with the doggy. Take 2 down to 10. Worm Coil Engine. We can exile that with Soul Transfer, deal 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 from Shore Up. And that will be game. Alright. It's a pretty good start for us there. Big work done by Thoughtseize, getting our opponent to position where they're just playing off the top. Kind of a weird game, though. Opponent definitely didn't play a lot of spells throughout the game, definitely not a lot of haymakers, so not sure that that curve of cards, that draw that we had there, would compete super well against a lot of other decks in the cube, so even though game 1 was a victory, it makes me feel a little worried about the deck in terms of the power level for future matchups, but we'll see. Alright, here we go now, game 2. Almost definitely a keep. Yeah, it's a keep. We pathway on black, play Ghast, turn 2 Tower, turn 3 Kayla's Command. Fabled Passage, that'll be our turn 4 land. I could also have just held on to Tower since I drew into Passage, because this deck really doesn't need more than 4 lands. Luminarch Aspirant, that's a little awkward, but I can play that and hold up Shore Up instead of playing Kayla's Command this turn, which seems pretty fine to me. Seems pretty strong. Essica's Chariot. That is a devastatingly powerful card. It creates 2/2/2s. They can use the 2/2s to crew the Chariot, which is a 4/4. And if they attack with that 4/4, they make yet another 2/2. That is just tremendously not what we wanted to see here. We might actually have to go for a Languish. Try to get to the point where Aspirant's 5 toughness. That's going to take so long. I mean, Lurrus can bring back the Aspirant later. Might grab an island off Fabled Passage so I can still hold up Shore Up and just put Lurrus in hand here. Because I don't really want to kill his command and put a 2/2 on the board if my plan is going to be to Languish soon. And that seems reasonable. I'm going to put the Lurrus in hand. I only want to grab a blue source for Shore Up if I need to shore up here. Yeah, I think I'm going to keep putting counters on Aspirant. Maybe we'll get to a point where we can get Aspirant to 5 power before we Languish. We could use a Shore Up to help get there. If we just spend 5 mana the turn we cast Languish, 1 for Shore Up, 4 for Languish. But Ghast, like, I'm pretty okay with, like, trading it off and getting a treasure, or trading it off and killing the Florahedron. And honestly, maybe I even just double block Chariot here, because the plan's kind of to languish. Now it's really the plan. That's a Rish card, that's another creature on the board, and 2 +1/+1 counters. The Chariot's going to attack, and they're going to get another 2/2. They're also playing a Priest of Forgotten Gods? Okay, we're just languishing next turn, period. End of sentence. Goodbye Luminarch Aspirant, goodbye Shambling Ghast, but it's languish time. Which means we definitely kill the Chariot off this attack, because that's the only thing that won't die to the languish. Question is, do I take an extra 3 damage, or do I cast a Shore Up to make Ghast big enough to kill Chariot by itself? I think I just take an extra 3 damage so I can still have Shore Up to protect Lurrus. Seems better. And because I'm going to blow everything else up with a Languish anyway, we might as well get a treasure instead of -1/-1 to something. Because the Florahedron's just going to die anyway. Okay. I grab a black or white source because all my blue cards are just a single blue. Kayla's command could grab another white source. So maybe grab a swamp. I don't think I'm going to be tutoring for a land with the command though. We'll just grab a plains. Languish and pass the turn. There's a Llanowar Visionary from our opponent. That can get them back in the game. 2/2 plus draw a card. So they get to get a creature on board and they don't have to go down a card to play it. So it's helping them refuel a little bit. Isolated Chapel. I can play Lurrus, pick up the Luminarch Aspirant, and still hold up Shore Up thanks to the treasure token. So that is definitely the play. I do want to make Lurrus big enough to attack or block against a 2/2. But then I'm going to put the counters elsewhere. I don't want to go super all in on Lurrus with just one way to protect it. The World Spell. So that doesn't do anything immediately, but it is going to draw the best 2 permanents from their top 7 cards. And then it can put them down for free on the 3rd part of the saga. So that's a really big card to play after the board wipe. That's really gonna help them find threats. So we need to go as fast as possible. Vivian is the pickup. Target creature deals damage equal to power to a creature or planeswalker. They can use that to try to kill Lurrus with the -3, so Shore Up is very nice to have. We kind of got to go all in here to do as much damage to them as possible, so I'm going to put a counter on Lurrus and give double strike with command, and I'm also going to put a counter with Luminarch Aspirant. What I literally just said I don't want to do, I'm going to do now. I'm going to go full on all in on Lurrus here. For a huge double strike swing. And then play the Menace card and I can still hold up Shore Up. Not getting any Shambling Ghast value here, but we're hitting for 12, 13. Hit for 15 if I cast Shore Up here, but probably better to have that protection than it is to get 2 more damage in right now. They are down to 4 and we'll pass. Grab another card from the World spell. They grab their own Lurrus. Hey, it's our friend. Life of Toshiro Umezawa can kill our 3/1 so that we can't reconfigure and give Lurrus Menace. This could be their bait to try to get us to cast a Shore Up now. If I don't have to Shore Up Lurrus, I can recast Blade of the Oni and reconfigure it next turn because Lurrus lets me recast it, so I think I let this happen. Okay, now they play Vivian. Oh yeah, they're just dead. They're just dead. They can't kill Lurrus with Vivian. So I can just replay and reconfigure here. Yeah, they're super dead. Alright, we're good. Unless they play a 1-mana creature. I forgot Visionary's adding mana. Then they could have the chump block. Alright, no, dead on board it is. Blade of the Oni, reconfigure. I probably should have put it on the 2/2, but they're completely tapped out, so either way works. Unless they have Fog. Just 1 green mana Fog. I'm pretty sure that's not in the cube, and it looks like it is not. We are going to be 2-0, and I'm much more impressed by how our deck performed that game. That was nuts. Languish was 100% monumental there, though. If we didn't have a Languish in hand, we wouldn't have gotten any of that stuff done, but the stuff that got done there was nuts. That was a super cool game. 2-0 heading into Game 3. Game 3 now. Thoughtseize Acquisitions Expert here. Pretty nasty. We don't get to turn 1 them because we have a Drowned Catacombs that's tapped on turn 1, but still good stuff. Still going to keep it here. Could play Vortex in case they play something I really want to put back in their hand turn 1, but seems pretty unlikely. Do I Acquisitions Expert or Thoughtseize first? The mana's going to be awkward here. Just going to Acquisitions Expert. Need more black sources so I can get this Evolved Sleeper going. Or so I can play Evolved Sleeper and Thoughtseize in the same turn. Swiftfoot Boots. Well, that is a pretty bad card, so fair card for me to get discarded. Riveteers of Requisitioner is the first play. Luckily, the Expert can trade into that, and we have a Languish in our hand now. So as soon as I hit another black source, if they're like a super aggressive red deck, we can just wipe the board. So tempted to maybe not even Thoughtseize them, just let them do whatever here for a bit. And we're just planning to Languish. Kind of want to Thoughtseize here, though, to just know exactly what's going on in their deck. If they have any Planeswalkers, we're definitely going to target that. No 3-mana Planeswalkers, though. Yeah, no. All the good 3-drops are just creatures, which is fine. In terms of mono red cards, we want them to just keep dumping creatures out. Phoenix of Ash, don't necessarily want them to play that one, but we couldn't even exile that anyway. Like if I kill that with a Thoughtseize, it's still going to come back from grave eventually with the escape effect, just like it would if I Languish it away. Let's Thoughtseize now. Rekindling Phoenix, Goblin Chain Whirler Flames the Firebrand. Languish plus Fading Hope can get through the Rekindling Phoenix. And I need to draw another black source to Languish anyway, which means I need to have 5 mana. I think I get rid of Flames of the Firebrand, actually. So they can't kill my Lurrus if I play it. I don't think I want to play Lurrus before Languish, but I might be forced to. Because we don't know when we can Languish. We're going to be getting hit a lot. I mean, they're going to be completely out of cards after a Languish. Yeah. Play it safe here and put the Lurrus on the board. So I can counteract some of this damage with some life gain. Because if I get to the point where I get to Languish Fading Hope, I still have Evolved Sleeper to take over the game after that, drawing extra cards every turn. And I need a good life total to do that. And now we just drew in a Selfless Savior Lurrus, which makes it way better that I played Lurrus here, because now I can Selfless Savior Lurrus, gain 3 every single turn no matter what. To slow them down a lot, and since obviously I'm not hitting the black source for Languish right now, I'd be really, really dead if I'm not gaining life here. It's only target non-tokens. Nope, both of these can target tokens, so we can use either one of these to slow them down if need be. Taking 6 in the sky, do I need to slow them down here? Not really, I want them to be able to afford to cast a Chain Whirler. So I want their whole hand gone to Languish. Alright, so they play the Chain Whirler. Might as well give Lurrus Indestructible, but then I'm going to replay Savior in the end step. Well, it's a good draw for our opponent. But I can Fading Hope Lurrus now and still have Vortex for the Phoenix. Yeah, that's a really good draw. But I do get to scry with Fading Hope here, which is important. I don't know if I was on the play. I don't know if I was the starting player. I kind of have to keep this either way, because it's the black source, even if it comes into play tapped. Let's find out. Okay, I was the starting player, so I can't use that. Soul Transfer's a fine card to have in the future. 10 life. I take 4, 5, 6. They could activate Den. I block with 2 creatures. Block gain 3. Chump block, take 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. But I gain 2. Block with 3 creatures because I have Savior. Yeah, we go Lurrus Savior. That's our best play. Lurrus is going to die to the Languish, though, but I can't really survive without Lurrus Savior on board. If they just activate Den and attack. This Den of the Bugbear is probably going to kill me. Because even if I wipe the whole board, they still have a Den left over. That's kind of brutal. Alright, 4, 5, 6. Make it 9 damage in the sky if they want. Or just 8 damage, it's plus 2, not plus 3. 6 damage it is, we'll go down to 4. Light up the stage. Oh, great. Card draw so they can play more stuff. Please play the goblin this turn and not next turn. Thank you. All right. We go to our turn. Yeah, we're just going to die to this Den of the Bugbear. We attack with Luris. They're going to block with Chain Whirler, and we can give Savior Indestructible so that we gain the life anyway. And then after combat, we Languish, and we kill their token with Rona's Vortex so they can't have a Phoenix. So we'll be at 7 life, then we take 4 from Den of the Bugbear. It's like no way to have a blocker for Den of the Bugbear and to still kill all their stuff. They could also just recast Phoenix of Ash and kill us. But yeah, Languish doesn't get there because they can just recast Phoenix of Ash and kill us. Do I have to soul transfer Phoenix of Ash? No, because then I die to the Phoenix. I die to either Phoenix, whichever other one I exile. We have no way out here. Their threats are just too versatile. They have Graveyard Recursion threats, and they have lands they can animate that I can't kill. Dang. Maybe we had a shot here if we hit the Black Source way sooner, but we're dead in a lot of different ways here. 2-1, heading into game 4 now. Alright, here we are on the play in game 4. Let's go. Drop Fiend's Tower, turn 1. Gonna Clarion Spirit. I might wait till turn 3 to Clarion Spirit so I guarantee at least 1 flyer off of it. Clarion Spirit Selfless Savior is my turn 3 play. Seems reasonable. Play Fabled Passage for now. Grab a white source off the Fabled Passage. Riveteer's Requisitioner. Sure. Could play Sailor this turn. I think I'd rather keep it to have more double spells with Clarion Spirit later. So, Clarion Spirit, Selfless Savior. Pass the turn. Just need a treasure pretty badly here, but that's fine. We'll give them the treasure. A lot of options for them here. They are firmly in the think tank on turn 2, or turn 3. Tireless Tracker is the play. Ooh, do they keep a 2-lander? Or no, they have a land drop, they just want to get the clue off of it. Ooh, 2 clues thanks to Evolving Wilds. That's going to be some huge value for our opponent. Yeah, Tireless Tracker going to put in some serious work here. And every time they sack those clues, they're getting counters on the tracker. Could draw 3, discard 1, and Spectral Sailor in the same turn. Could do that in my opponent's turn as well. Seems reasonable to me. If I don't hit a basic, I have to discard some actual cards, but I can Luris them back later. Seems fine. I'm going to send in the Clarion Spirit here. I think it's actually probably... I mean, well, it's definitely a fine trade for Selfless Savior into the tracker. Okay, because I can say the tracker gets bigger every time they sack a clue. So yeah, we'll trade Savior up into the tracker. That's actually just a really good trade, I think. super fine with that. And yeah, I'm gonna go search the Count's Castle plus Spectral Sailor during their turn. Most likely. Mecha Godzilla. A 3/3 that gets a random keyword every turn. We'll see what they get. Hexproof is the best keyword to get. Lifelink is pretty good against me here. I'm trying to be aggro. Yeah, Lifelink's a pretty solid first ability here. Alright, draw 3. Discard a basic if we hit one. We did not hit a basic. Don't want to discard Shore Up. I don't love Brainstorm here. The Marsh isn't incredible, but 5 mana is still decent to have. I'm gonna go Brainstorm Marsh as the discards. Play the Sailor. Okay, we do still have 5 mana here. Just start drawing cards off Spectral Sailor, get ahead in card advantage. Can't do that and still trigger Clarion Spirit for the turn, though. I could go Evolved Sleeper Cleric, trigger Spirit for the turn, and still have the mana to evolve the Sleeper a little bit. That feels pretty fine. Keep doing some nasty Clarion Spirit things. I have the mana to evolve the Sleeper, and I have the mana to use a Shore Up. See what the Mecha Godzilla's got. +1/+1 counter. It is now a 4/4. No attacks. They will cast a Defiler of Vigor, a very big card there. 6/6 trample. Every green permanent they cast is going to put a +1/+1 counter on their whole board. That's spooky. Don't love that. Rona's Vortex can get rid of that Defiler. Seems solid. Also evolve the Sleeper to being a Death Toucher here for 2 mana. So I get to attack with that and all the flyers. And then I still have Vortex if I need to do that. Alright. I need 4 mana to use the Vortex well. So I believe. Let's let this happen. We're down to 11 now. I actually might even Vortex the Lifelinker, weirdly enough. And just try to outrace the Defiler, since they're down to 11 here. Would love it if they cast some kind of removal here, because then I can cast Shore Up and Rona's Vortex and get another 1/1. I could do that anyway, but I just lose the Shore Up value. I'm just shoring up for nothing. Oh, yes. Oh, yes. And that's about to make it a really big lifelinker. So now it's even better to bounce that with Rona's Vortex. Oh my god. That plays super well for me. So I already wanted to put that back in their library, and now, really good to do so. Alright, we go to our turn. We draw into a Lion Sash. They're at 11. If I attack with everybody, they block Evolved Sleeper, take 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. They probably block Spirit, because Sleeper can kill that. We can't kill them, but I think it's probably worth sacrificing Spirit to just deal 8 damage to them at this point. They're on a very fast clock now. Alright, or they block the sleeper because it does deal more damage, but I can make it death touch now. So we actually kill the Defiler in this combat. I don't think I want to draw a card off of it. Just kill the Defiler. We're down to 3. And then put a Lurrus in hand so I can re-establish a board state if they wipe me. And there's the concession. Really good stuff from the Lurrus deck that game. We are going to be 3-1 now, heading into game number 5. Game number 5 here on the play. Not a lot of action in our hand, but part of the upside of being able to run a companion like Lurrus is we know we can at least do that later. I've got card draw, I've got interaction. Not a lot of threats, not a lot of plays early game. I need to be holding onto this tower a lot more than I have been, I think, because, again, I don't need like 6th, 7th mana. I have been using it a lot, though. And I do have Lion Sash here as a mana sink. And I do want to keep a basic in hand for the castle. Yeah, I have so many non-basics in this deck that holding on to the island plains in hand is actually kind of important to guarantee I can discard just one card to that later. We actually might even just play Godless Shrine here and lose some life. But I only need to hold on to one of these. Probably want to discard an island over anything else. Alright, I will pay for the Godless Shrine so I can play the Count's Castle thing. Then I'll pass turn. Reality Chip from our opponents. That can be a very threatening card. If they reconfigure it, they can start playing cards from the top of their library, which can draw them many extra cards. Draw 3. We did hit another basic here. At this point, I think I discard a plains. Well, no, I'll have 2 blue sources, even if I discard the island. Blue is still the least represented color. Every blue card only costs 1 blue. Kayla's Command is the draw. It's a good one. I think I'm going to just get rid of this reality chip. It doesn't matter till they reconfigure, though, so we don't have to deal with it immediately. If I'm working on my board state, I just Kayla's Command, Lion Sash to double striking. Yeah, we hit for 4 this turn, or we kill the reality chip here. Actually, we hit for 6, because I can exile my plains from grave. Probably worth not holding up Vortex to do that, because that's a huge swing. Alright, let's hit for 6. Kayla's Command's been one of the better cards in the deck. It's been just some consistent damage. They could have a 1-mana removal spell like Swords to Plowshares here, if that is in the cube. I have not seen Swords to Plowshares. I played a lot of these cube drafts. I don't think Swords is in the cube this time around. They put the worst version, the sorcery one. Oh, they also have March of Otherworldly Light. Alright. Fair enough, they had to 2-for-1 themselves to stop that damage, so feels like we got decent value there. They had to exile their own Kayla's Command. That's super sad, but also very funny. It's just the Spider-Man meme. We're just staring at each other. Fell at our retreat. I cannot get rid of an enchantment. So every time they play a land, they're getting cat beasts. That's not good. No, we have straight up like no plays here. We just scry with a Charming Prince and pray. Scry with a Charming Prince. Gotta find some real big action. We could have Savior to protect Lurrus all day long, but that's not going to deal with Felidar Retreat. Evolved Sleeper gives us a lot of card draw. I kind of want to still keep the Savior, but Evolved Sleeper is actually really good draw to just hit immediately. I kind of want to hold on to Rona's Vortex, so if they just go land for Felidar Retreat, make a 2-2, and then they try to reconfigure, I can counter that by just killing the 2-2 that they're reconfiguring onto. So since that's a relatively likely play pattern, just on board, I think I'm going to play around that. Alright, I'm going to pretend I have a Disfigure or something. They don't believe me. How rude. There's Mutavault. Get a 2-2 from the Felidar Retreat. And a Rabble Rousing. Oh my god, I do not have enchantment removal right now. I don't think I have any in the deck, honestly. Yeah, I don't. Yeah, my deck is bad against enchantments. And those are some devastating ones. Oh, they can even attack with the Reality Chip just to get a 1-1 here? That's so dumb. I didn't play around them getting value from attacking with a 0-4, so I actually just get devastated by that. That's so funny. This has been a silly game of Magic. Good lord. Alright. You got me. I didn't play around an attack with a 0-4 being super viable there. Am I gonna just soul transfer the Reality Chip at this point? Or are we just gonna set up the Sleeper? Could get the Sleeper up to... This takes 3 to reconfigure. If they play another land, they can reconfigure twice, but we can Rona's Vortex the first reconfigure. I think I'm just setting up the Sleeper and holding up the Vortex. Going for a double evolve plus Vortex turn. Solid attacks with everybody because the Sleeper blocks is a 3-3. Hit them down to 14. I'm gonna just like activate Mutavault, attack with everybody, including the 0-4 Jellyfish again, just trying to rouse that rabble. They're going straight to combat. No reconfigure. And if that's the case, I guess I'm just going to Vortex the 2-2 right now to lower the number of 1-1s they're getting here. Then we're going to kill the Reality Chip with the Sleeper. Attack with just the Reality Chip. So a land makes those both 2-2s. They didn't hit a land, though, and the Jellyfish is just straight gone now? Alright, well, that turn went super, super well. Now we can just attack with everybody and drop a Lurrus. Takes all my mana, but that's fine. They get a lot of rabble-rousing attacks on the crackback. Probably, maybe hold back Ghast or something. Gotta hold back a little bit. Yeah, Ghast is only threatening 1 extra damage to them. So, in the interest of having a little bit more blockers. Oh dear. Well, Soul Transfer can get rid of that Wandering Emperor, but that's not good. Goodbye, Evolved Sleeper.
I am the Emperor of Kamigawa, and I will protect my people.
If I'm gonna Soul Transfer Emperor anyway, I'm not gonna use all my mana, so I can't use 3 mana to draw. Because if I do, I don't have the mana to play Soul Transfer. It requires double black. Awkward.
This is what you get for hurting my people.
Alright, they're down to 12. Soul Transfer the Emperor.
I guess that's...
Drop a Selfless Savior. Reflector Mage. They bounce one of our cards and we can't play it next turn. Probably just kill the token. That works too. Alright. Gonna get in with Mutavault here. Get a bunch of 1/1s. Not ideal. Yeah, it's mega bad. Rabble rousing out to victory. Can replay Savior from grave if I hit a land, and I did. They're guaranteed to have 10 cards out now. And they have a 2/3 to block my 2/2s. Urza. Hello. Yep, that's pretty bad. Well, the game went longer than I thought it would. Filler Retreat plus Rousing was basically lethal the moment it happened, but some things transpired and it looked like we had a pretty good shot, but then Felidar Retreat and Rabble Rousing did what Felidar Retreat and Rabble Rousing do when you don't have enchantment removal. And they headed to Fairy under the Rousing. Sad stuff. Maybe could have played even more defensively just to try to make it so they could almost never get an attack in, just never attack ourselves. If I never attacked all game, then I'm just... I don't know. That's the only thing we really could have done differently there. Is just constantly just always hold back attackers. They could, every single attack they get in, we kill as many creatures as they attack with. But we were always going to be dead to just like a land drop. Because then their creatures get big enough to where all of our blocks are trades. And it's really easy for them to come ahead there. I don't know, I think my idea was fine, just desperately trying to kill them before those things could really pop off. Just didn't pan out for us there. I just turn 1 get aggro? With Kayla's command coming up, I'm gonna just get aggro. Turn 2 Sailor plus Thoughtseize. Mono red. Double mountain to start it off. Please don't be exile removal. It is not. It's not removal whatsoever. What's going on in your hand? That's a mono red deck. Oh, that's an Ember Cleave. That's a burn down the house. The Seasoned Pyromancer. This is all really bad news. Honestly. Pyromancer's really gonna wall us off. But now we have to play around to burn down the house. We have 3 mana right now. I'm tempted to just get rid of burn down the house so they can't wrath, but I think I just get rid of Pyromancer. It's their best card at walling us off. If they want to try to race us with Phoenix of Ash, I think we take that race every time. With the way our hand's looking. We get that huge damage swing off Kayla's command. We always have a lifelinker with Luris. Ooh, Remorseful Cleric. That's big enough to trade into Phoenix of Ash, or it can exile their graveyard if we kill Phoenix of Ash with something else. Lets me double spell here. They might Devil's play the Cleric now. If they hit any lands. They did hit their 4th mana, so we need to stop playing creatures, because now they can just Devil's play, or burn down the house next turn as their game plan. Devil's plays a sorcery. There's one card we don't know about. They have a sorcery speed way to kill one of our creatures, or kill all of our creatures next turn. They're at 15. They take 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 if I Kayla's command. I don't think I'm going to Kayla's command next turn. I think I just want to put a Luris in hand around the burn down the house. Which means I mean, they're just going to burn down the house anyway, so I don't think we trade. Because their own Phoenix dies to the burn down the house. Alright, our plan is next turn we just put a Luris in hand, so if they board wipe us, we can start recasting things with Luris. That's the plan, that's the idea. I can't even kill his command this turn anyway, I don't have double white. Marina's making sure I cannot overcommit accidentally. Opponents got their own difficult decisions to make, thinking about if they want to just buff Phoenix of Ash and then burn down the house next turn, or if they want to hold up the mana so they can go for a Devil's play on one of our creatures here. Could also hold up instant speed interaction if they have any. Or my internet died. Because the timer's looking weird. No, they're looking at the board. They're looking at the board. Cool. Okay, they are going to buff the Phoenix of Ash. We're going to take 4 down to 12. See what we draw into. Rona's Vortex. Pretty cool. Could evolve the Sleeper here to hit for 1 more damage. Still hold up a Rona's Vortex. Almost definitely better to just put a Luris in the hand. Next turn they could throw an Embercleave on Phoenix of Ash if they dump all their mana into it. Pretty sure we attack everything and put Luris in hand though. They're down to 9. Luris is in hand and we pass the turn. They can attack in and Devil's play us for 4 maximum. Put us at 6 life, but still alive. They could burn down the house for 3 1/1s with haste that deal damage to something every time they die. Actually, I wasn't even thinking about the alternate cost to burn down the house, but if they use the alternate ability, that's even worse for us, potentially. Bunch of 1/1 Devils to block with on the ground that kill our flyers when they die. Burn down the house is just monumentally bad for us either way. And they're gonna get that Phoenix of Ash damage in. Oh, I thought they were making the 3 Devils. I think that this is actually a little better for us than if they got the Devils. So I can't do this in a way to where their Phoenix is going to get exiled, but I can exile their Pyromancer. At least do hit a land here. Paying 2 life to Godless Shrine's painful, but it would let me play Cold Conscript. They're just going to Devil's play Lurrus now. They can't recast Phoenix. Could gain 2 Scry 2 off Kayla's command, but maybe I play Lurrus and hold up Rona's Vortex? So I can put Lurrus in hand if they Devil's play. And then next turn I just try to give Lurrus +1/+1 double strike, because they have 1 card we don't know about. We don't know if they have any instant speed removal. If they do, it's the 1 card that we don't know. Oh, yeah, I could play Sailor during each of your turns. I can't do it during my opponent's turn. Dang. That'd be so good if I could play it during my opponent's turn. Because then it's like, I can hold up the Vortex and still get the Lurrus value of playing something if I don't have to Vortex here. Oh no, I forgot Vortex sucks. It doesn't suck, it's just, it's only opposing cards. I guess it would have been a way better on summon if it could target your own cards. Yep, that's brutal. They had instant speed removal anyway. But I mean, I guess if they just use it like that, then we would have been able to unsummon and save it, but they could like Devil's played and held up in a braid. That was not ideal. I thought Rona's Vortex would be able to bounce it. They all in on Devil's play here? They don't have enough cards in grave to bring Phoenix back. Devil's play is triple red and X from the grave. So they could shoot us for 5 and then next turn shoot us like flashback and kill us. This is so painful. Probably Hangerback Walker for 4 and hold up Vortex if they try to get a Phoenix out. Missing on casting a creature from Lurrus might cost us here. Because that would be 1 damage now that we would have hit them for with the Spectral Sailor. Or, I mean, we could have played Cold Conscript and we would have hit them for 2 now. Yeah, if we lose this game, probably a game that was close enough that we would have won if I just realized that I couldn't bounce my own Lurrus with his Vortex. And did not fully read my cards. I think I was just getting flashbacks to when I used Fading Hope on my own Lurrus earlier. Or my own creature earlier, and I was like, I'll just do that here. Can't do that with Vortex. Den of the Bugbear's a scary, scary card from our opponent. Completely forgot that they had that here. Attack with a 3/2 and get a 1/1 Goblin out there as well. This is clearly a stressful game for both players. They're having to go into the think tank every turn as well. Hoping that gain 2, scry 2 from Kayla's command is enough to ruin their math, ruin their shots here. I don't have another white source to play Kayla's command and Aspirant. I think it's better to just play Aspirant, and they might be just AFK here. Because it just, like, they got the full rope and then it just passed turn. And I guess we'll find out if they let me resolve this Aspirant or what's going on. Might just be AFK. Yeah, I guess maybe they had an internet issue or something came up. Oh, they're back? They're back. All right. Buff the Hangerback Walker, holding up a Vortex to be real safe. We'll send that in. If they kill the Luminarch Aspirant, we can get Colt Conscript back from grave and hold up Rona's Vortex. Should really set things up well. They are down to 6. They play a Mountain. They have 7 mana total. They can Devil's Play us for 7. Spike Field Hazard on Aspirant, which exiles, so we can't get Colt Conscript. That is pretty deadly. Kind of perfect. A bounce their Den of the Bugbear here to not take damage, and then Kayla's Command is threatening lethal. And we know exactly what's in their hand, so we know Kayla's Command gets there. Double strike. We know they don't have interaction, so that'll end the game there. Not playing a card from Lurrus almost cost us the game there. So we got really lucky that our opponent went AFK for a moment, because if they played something that turn, they might have still been in it here. If they went for like a Den of the Bugbear attack there earlier or something. But everything that we knew of that they could play was just like removal, and blowing up the Walker, we'd still have multiple 1/1 flyers. So we might have been fine there. Might have been fine there, but it definitely would have been even closer than it ended up being, and it was quite a close game there, so spicy one there, stressful one, but we are going to get that victory in the end. It's going to be 4-2 heading into round number 7. This is probably the first hand I actually have to mulligan. Half of our non-land cards are not castable because we don't have a blue source here. And the ones that are good, but not really good enough to win a game by themselves. I think I actually genuinely have to mulligan here, sadly. Alright, now we've got much better mana. Some very good plays. We will definitely keep this. I think I actually get rid of the Hangerback Walker. It's the slowest card in hand. By quite a lot. Turn 1, Thraben Inspector from our opponent. I don't love paying 2 life to play a Curtains, but I do like playing it early. And we're kind of gaining at least 1 life by just having this on the board to block the Inspector. Right, if I play this tapped, I take at least 1 damage from Inspector before I play Curtains, so it's kind of like pay 1 life for Godless Shrine untapped. When you think about it that way. Mind Stone from our opponent. Really want to see what's in our opponent's hand with this Concealing Curtains before I commit too much to the board here, because I want to see if I'm going to end up casting a Languish early or not. So I'm just going to wait here till turn 3 where we look at their hand and choose if we want to make them discard something. They are white, blue, and black, same colors as us. They're going to foretell a card, probably like Alrund's Epiphany, but could be Glimpse the Cosmos. Scry 2, draw 2. I have a Thoughtseize to play with their hand too. I'd rather do it with Concealing Curtains. And I'm threatening them with a 3/4 Menace. They have a Portal to Phyrexia, a Noxious Gearhulk, and a Counterspell. This is not a Languish game. I feel like I have to just hope they don't have any reanimation for Portal to Phyrexia, and we just make them discard that. Then we have to deal with a Gearhulk, but it's a lot easier for us to deal with a Gearhulk than a Portal to Phyrexia. We can Languish a Gearhulk, even if it costs our own creatures. But yeah, there are a couple reanimation spells in the cube. There is that 5 mana one that returns an artifact from your grave to the battlefield. So if they have that in their deck here, and they portal us, we're going to be an absolute goner here. And they're going to go ahead and draw a card off Inspector. We're going to go ahead and trade in 3 damage for 1 damage on the crackback. Right, they pass the turn. They do not have double blue, so they cannot counterspell right now. Pretty good. Probably just Thoughtseize and see what their next 3 cards are. And then maybe drop a Thalia depending on what it is. Meathook Massacre, Circuit Mender, Counterspell, Gearhulk. Probably get rid of the Meat Hook Massacre, because I'm about to play some more creatures. I want to be able to wrath whenever I want to wrath, not when they want to. Don't really want to make my Languish more expensive, but if I Charming Prince, all I'm doing is scrying right now. I could play Cleric. Get a flyer on board, because that can attack through a Circuit Mender, whereas my 2/2s and 2/1s can't. Yeah, Cleric's the best attacker by far. We'll just drop that. That seems reasonable. Then both of our threats are evasive. Oh, it is the Counterspell foretold, alright. Was not expecting that. But that's fair enough, that's fine. They have 5 mana now. They're 1 mana away from dropping a Noxious Gearhulk on us. We probably don't play any more creatures, because they probably just go land Gearhulk. So this turn we put Lurrus in hand. Hit them because Revealing Eye is going to die anyway if they just play a land, which when they have Consider on top is probably happening. Or Consider to look at the top, it's probably happening. So they're likely to go Consider, land, Gearhulk, blow up the eye. And then we Languish them, and we are golden. If I don't hit a land, I can't Languish them, but we'll see. Teferi off the top. Don't have any of our Planeswalker removal here. Might be it. Tucks away our Revealing Eye. There is the land for Gearhulk, but they hit it to Teferi, so Teferi it is instead. We did hit the land for Languish, but Languish no longer looking like the Languish matters particularly highly. Teferi is only 1 loyalty, so it's actually pretty reasonable in terms of its loyalty. Actually possible that we kill this thing. I wish I could make 2 power of flying, but I can't. I can only make 1 flyer off of this Clarion Spirit, but I think that's what we have to do. Make a flyer so we can keep chipping away at Teferi. So, Clarion Spirit. Scry with the Charming Prince. Definitely, I can't really tax myself right now when I might be languishing soon. So it's either gain 3 or scry 2. It's probably more of a scry 2 kind of game. Land number 5. Curtain's not great here. Land 5 is fine. I can Lurrus and Thalia. Or I can Lurrus and Remorseful Cleric. That's even better. Yeah, we keep the land. Lurrus and Remorseful Cleric as the play next turn. Might Gearhulk away our Clarion Spirit here. That would be sad. Alright, Teferi +1. They are going to Gearhulk away something. And it is going to be the Clarion Spirit. I could go for Languish Evolved Sleeper. No, I can't. They have the Counterspell up. Oh my god, they had the mana to play Gearhulk and hold up a Counterspell? Where'd they get all the treasure to do that? Why did this Gearhulk cost 4? Oh, because Teferi untaps lands with the Teferi's so good. Teferi's busted when you have OG Counterspell in your deck. Draw a card and untap Counterspell mana exactly. Yeah, well, if Teferi couldn't untap lands here, we've got options, but now we just... Our Language just gets countered. Or our Lurrus just gets countered. Our 2 different options just get completely countered. Probably better for Lurrus to get countered than the Languish. Because if Lurrus gets countered, I can still survive by Languishing next turn, but I still am going to die to Teferi. It'll just happen more slowly now. because we get to resolve a languish, potentially, in the future.
Don't make another move. Let's skip to the good part.
Alright. I have the Thoughtseize for the Languish anyway, and we still have no way to deal with Teferi. So super duper over there. Sad way to end it. But 4-3 is still a perfectly respectable record, and honestly, better than I thought a Lurrus deck would be likely to do when we started this draft. But by the end of the draft, I think this ended up being a pretty cool deck. I think if I realized a little bit earlier that we were basically going to have to play 3 colors to get enough playables to play a low land count, I could have taken some of the better blue cards here, because we had a good enough mana base to just be full 3 color even if we're aggro, like we ended up being. So if we had just a few more of the stronger blue cards in those packs, I think that's the best the draft could have gone for forcing Lurrus. But still, even then, I think this deck actually played super, super well. And I'm a pretty big fan of it. Quite solid, you know, average power level for a cube deck. 4-3 rate here as the win rate. I think that's right in the middle of how good this deck could do. If we were really lucky, it could have been like a 7-2. If we're really unlucky, the deck could have been 1-3-0-3. But I think we got about the average run this deck would have done, and I'm pretty happy with that. Nice average cube deck. That's what you can expect out of most drafts. So yeah, really fun deck today. Super cool. Super cool to play a companion, especially Lurrus, because Lurrus is one of the ones that's like the rarest to actually play. Obviously the blue-red one that just you have to play singleton, you will only have one of every card in your deck. That one's not that cool to play around with because you don't have to draft around it at all, but Lurrus was a fun one to draft around, so very cool draft today. Had a lot of fun with it for sure. We're going to be playing plenty more Arena Cube drafts in the near future if you're interested in that. Arena Cube drafts are on Arena until January 1st, and we're going to be playing them until then, as close to daily as I can. More great draft content, just Arena content in general, coming to you all next year. January 1st to 14th is the Arena Decathlon's return. That's a super fun series of events. It's 10 different formats that they rotate out every few days. And you try to win as many of those different formats as possible to get entries into the Decathlon finals. So that's the next major thing coming to Arena that I'm very excited that we'll have tons of videos about on the channel. So stay tuned for that if you're interested in either of those things. Other than that, as always, you can like, comment, and subscribe if you want the YouTube algorithm to send you some more of these videos in your recommended feeds. And thank you all very much for watching, and I'll see you again soon for some more Magic Arena.